Hello. Have you ever tried growing trees in your house and ran into that problem where as soon as they get a little bit of wind, they just get knocked over and broken, and you end up trying to use sticks to keep them from falling over, and you just run into that problem of just having a tree that just isn't prepared for real life out where there's actually wind? So I have a procedure for conditioning plants, acclimating them to situations where they need to build a trunk that can put up with some amount of wind and, maybe a dog or two that might run into them a few times. And I'll talk about that in this video. Thanks for watching. All right, so I wanted to make this video just to give some advice on what to do when you're growing trees and you have them indoors and they're not exposed to wind or the elements in any way, and you're picking them up. They're growing really big, like this is a moringa tree. You'll see this is super floppy. I mean, I can barely move this thing without it just flopping all over the place. So you can imagine if I was to put this in the ground outside and it was a windy day, the wind would probably destroy this thing. So you wonder, how do you prepare this plant for real life? And it's exactly the way you might think. I mean, you expose this thing to moving it around like this. That trunk right there, that's mostly just cellulose. It's mostly just made out of that sugar that plants use for structure called cellulose. It's not lignified yet. And what that means is lignin is that hard material in wood that makes things woody. By just daily picking up the plant, moving it around or putting it near a fan just so that it has some type of opposition, it causes the plant itself to become more acclimated to that type of situation. Because making lignin costs resources, and if the plant doesn't think that it needs to waste resources on something like lignin, it's not going to waste its precious resources on making it. And so before you put these plants outside, you want to condition them for real life. You put them in a situation where they're either near wind, or you just daily pick them up a few times and just move them around like this. Not too hard because you don't want to break them, but hard enough that you want that trunk to start upregulating the production of lignin so that it gets that harder trunk so that it can put up with a little bit of wind. Otherwise, things like this, moringa trees with all these leaves, they are going to get destroyed by the wind if you don't prepare them. So that's how you acclimate moringa trees and pretty much any tree that you have growing indoors for the outside weather so that it's prepared for wind. And you may already know that. The problem, like a lot of people, might just be tempted to put a stick near it. This is one that I've been doing this with for the last week or two. And look how much this has already hardened up. And that's just from moving it around. Okay, another moringa tree. Just by acclimating it a little bit with just wiggling it around, it's caused that trunk to start producing a lot more lignin. And you can even see it getting darker. It's actually looking like it's gonna have bark soon or something, So that is a lot more prepared for outdoor weather. This one, not so much, okay? And I purposely haven't done any of those types of movements with this just so that I could show what happens when you don't acclimate a plant for outdoors. So I'm hoping that it's not too late for this guy. Hoping that if I start that with this guy, he'll be prepared for outdoors and he won't have problems blowing over in the wind. So I hope that helps. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.